Look, I know this is coming out of concern, and I know this is also coming from a good place, because parents want to protect and they want to make sure their children, all their children, are safe and that nothing bad is gonna happen to them. I get it. I honestly do get it. Well, I don't think it's a good idea to have a tracker to track your child's movements. I think it's one thing to get that call when they go to the shops or the supermarket or their mate's house or something like that, something where you feel it's quite a long distance, and it would make you feel better if you heard of them. But see, the thing is, from a young age, obviously you're gonna tell them never to accept sweets off a stranger, never to ride in a car with somebody that you don't know, even if they are attractive and pleasing to the eye, even if they really like you and want you to come in. And also, finally, okay, so there's the sweets, there's riding in the car. Oh yeah, never go looking for a lost pet. These types of things. Or I just don't think tracking your child is responsible, if you know what I mean. I don't think it's your responsibility to know where they are exactly all the time. At the moment, I will have kids, but at the moment I know I'm also coming from this at a little bit of a child's perspective, because I just feel there is such a thing as overprotectiveness, where a child feels smothered, controlled, micromanaged. It is one thing to tell your parents, I'm going out with Eki and I'll be back at 4 o'clock, things like that. But what they do in that time, whether they go to the shops, whether they go to another mate's house, I think that's none of your business. Because it's like, how can I put this? There needs to be such a thing as privacy. There has to be a line drawn somewhere to give that teenager, child, I'd say, just a little bit of privacy. We all need it, even as adults. And I get that parents, are more inclined to put a tracker on them, and they, when they tell themselves that they are doing this because they care, because they love their daughter, son. But you can't know what they are doing at every minute of their lives. At this age, and I'm 33, all of us can say that we did things we never wanted our moms to know, and now mothers are gonna make it their business to know everything. I just think in this case you're not letting your child breathe. If your child, okay, wants to go down the park late at night, what would you say? Of course you wouldn't allow it. When it's winter at 4:30, you get children inside the house, including everyone. Yeah, I guess. Safety precautions, dogs, alarms, getting your kids checking with you. But there is such a thing as taking over. And I know I would, as a child, teenager, you get to the age where you repel and you repel against it, and it's like you want to take that control back. Your parents telling you this and this for a large portion of your life. Well, guess what? Teenagers will have a mind of their own, and they will answer back and they will push you to your limits. I think the last thing a parent should do is to then put a tracker on and I think they will get cute about it. They will leave their tracker at their mate's house, and you think, oh, they're at their mate's house all day. Yeah, I do get it. Kids will trick their parents. I mean, I know I did. I wouldn't want my mom or my dad to know where I was all the time. I've had conversations with my parents when I was about 15, and this was when I used to run off, and then once they'd found me, once they knew I was safe, I'd be in the kitchen and they'd be talking to me. And I think one of the first times I did it, was it my mum or my nan, they turned around and they told me I was selfish. That if I knew what it did to them, and if I cared, loved them, I wouldn't do it. And at the time I was like, oh my God, that's like a reverse psychology on me. But as a teenager, I didn't know what it did to them. I was thinking about me. It was more about freedom, wanting to escape, being able to make decisions. Which path shall I go down? Shall I lean towards the darkness or shall I lean towards the light? Teenagers just need to make these choices all the time. As a teenager, I smoked. I mean, at one point I tried to do everything I was told at one point not to do, and maybe it was stupid of me, or it was about also feeling the need to explore. It was about telling my parents, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make me drink it. It was about wanting to feel in control versus being controlled. I also wanted to escape my problems and go back to a simpler time where I was happy. So I wasn't always wandering about aimlessly. I was actually trying to get somewhere. You know, and also I used to feel invincible. You know, I'd watch things like In My Time, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Xena the Warrior Princess. You know, I wasn't afraid when maybe I should have been. I felt like some teenagers do, that I belonged in the darkness, that in my own way I was damaged. So sneaking off at night symbolised what I felt. And you know, and I think also I did want to make it very clear who my parents, these are my choices to make, whether I stay in, whether I'm good, whether I'm bad, it's all on me. That I get to make these choices, not them telling me what's best for me. So if they then said that they were going to put a tracker on me, that would have been my worst nightmare. I think at the age of 15, because this was when all this kicked off and started to happen, when I came off my work experience and I applied for a job, that gave me more of a sense of responsibility, that, you know, that aids me a little bit more mature, because I had to get up, I had to catch a bus, or my dad would take me in, you know, and it would help give my day structure. And you know, it's something else to think about, you know, in IA. And also you can tell children and teenagers what not to do, and they are very good at going ahead and doing it. You don't need a tracker, it's about guidance and helping them use tools to make them become into adults. But I don't think it's by snooping or tracking. Life is all about adventures and new things to experience. Parents, I care, are always going to worry, but it's allowing your child to have that freedom. You give a teenager a mobile phone, they are going to take it into school and get numbers, male and female. I mean, I could have got involved invited out at school for some cool parties, but I said to a lad, sighing unfortunately, that it was never going to work. I mean, I wanted to come, but I knew that my mom is going to want to speak to the girl's mom. She's going to want to know times, dates, and I will give my mum a call when I'm going to go to sleep, you know. And I didn't also see how another mom would lie to mine. I didn't see it happening if I wasn't there. Everybody else managed to meet up. So what's the difference then between my mum and all these other parents? If it was a cleverly thought up plan to go out, I can tell you now, I was not above deceiving. And I know there's a lot of things that goes on when children hit their teenage years, but I was never given that freedom to experiment with alcohol and things like that. My parents were strict. I followed rules whether I liked it or not. When I was, I think, either 16 or 17, and I was going to a school party, which was a sixth form party. They didn't mind that because I'd be around schoolmates. But my husband, when he was about, I don't know now, 18, 19, possibly 20, he went abroad for a stag night. There was no way my parents would have allowed me. The only kind of escapism I actually got was through writing and creating my own fiction. And if we think about this just for one moment, if I weren't allowed to parties and things like that, and all these kids managed it, I want to say that it's probably down to different parenting styles and maybe less rules and different family dynamics. And I think also through trusting a responsible child, and which I know now that my sister had all chances to go out places because she was a responsible child, and responsible children in their parents' eyes, they have more opportunities to extend that freedom. If a parent was to fall critically ill, if a parent was to pass away, and that parent has then made their child dependent on them and became the centre of their world by smothering them, overprotecting them, how would that child cope when problems come, when things happen? what I have learned is some parents parent from a place of fear, and I think that is why we are having these conversations, because of the effect it has on them, as they have watched newspapers and things like that, and this has only made them succumb to this fear. There is always a risk of anything these days. You know, crossing the road, you could not get knocked over by a car. But the thing is, if you remind yourself of all these risks, you will never do anything. If you check your child's emails, I do believe you are betraying their privacy. And if they happen to be dating somebody, they don't want their mom to know all the intimate conversations that they have. It's up to them to come to you, and when they do that, that is really a strength of your mother and daughter bond growing.